Hello. I will perhaps speak from different point of view, as you have heard the speaker speak before. I am working as environmental activist, specifically focusing on the natural resources, but for past 13 years I've been going back and forth from Iquitos and learning from Madre Ayahuasca and other teacher plants. Chris has already covered. This is, I hope this presentation will work. It's not moving. Chris has covered the first slide that I wanted to. So I will be very brief. When we speak about ayahuasca tourism, we need to first actually see the data about tourism in Peru in general, because they are kind of interconnected with in some points. We need to know that Peru has experienced like enormous growth of tourism in past few years, and it's still growing, and they expect to have about 4.5 million people coming to Peru in 2020. And tourism is a big contributor to Peruvian economy. It is overlapping also with ayahuasca tourism, because in my experiences before, people that were coming to Iquitos and to retreats were actually people who were looking for ayahuasca. But now many people say that I was traveling in Peru and I met somebody else and they talked, you need to experience also ayahuasca while you are here. So this is also one part of or one aspect of ayahuasca tourism that we need to consider. But before going back to ayahuasca tourism, I would like to give you a larger picture of what is going on in the Amazon, with the Amazon, and with the people that are living there. This is, I don't like generally charts, but this one is worth looking at. It's a cross-section between a Human Development Index and ecological footprint of certain of all world's countries. And what you can see is that we are either have low ecological footprint or high Human Development Index. Where we should be is a green part at the bottom, and none of the countries is there yet. And what is worrying is that the countries that you see on your left tend to move to upper right, which means more pressure to natural resources, and we are looking for the resources in the places where before were difficult to access, but since we already extracted majority of easy accessed natural resources, the places like Amazon are becoming interesting, and they are actually the target becoming, or they already are the target of corporations and other businesses. How does this reflect? I will just go briefly through one case. I decided to talk about the gold because we all understand that the gold is precious. This is a aerial photo of Madre de Dios region in Peru. And there are legal and illegal gold mines. In past few years, the area extended for over 400%. About 30 to 40, or probably today even more, tons of mercury is being dropped to these waters every year. Local people have the levels of mercury in their bodies way over the limit, safe limit, if safe limit with mercury even exists. And the rivers are carrying this mercury through the entire South American continent, poisoning fish, and fish is food for the local people. And it brings minors, which brings violence, prostitution, alcohol, drugs, and overhunting, meaning that for local people there is more less food available. Why gold? Gold is not used only in jewelry. It's very, very common to use it in our popular fun gadgets like computers, mobile phones or smartphones. And actually, experts estimated that 1 ton of iPhone waste contains 324 times more gold than the gold that is being mined in Peru. Peru is 5th or 6th country, most important country, provider of the gold on global level. So my question is, why don't we recycle more than 10%? Why are we going there, causing what we are causing to the local population, causing what we are causing to environment and people, and not get our act straight and use to the maximum whatever we already managed to extract and actually steal from these parts of the world. And solutions are very clear. We need to redesign, so we do not throw away the mobile phone. We just take, for example, if I want better camera, I just take the camera, replace it, and that's it. Reuse, recycle, and so on. Why don't we do it? And the local people, I mean, the conditions there are deadly serious. Local Witnesses, an NGO specialized in recording the death in environmental activists. And for years now, Latin America, with Brazil, is on the top with the numbers of victims. What is more frightening is actually that indigenous people represent 5% of global population, and they are massively overrepresented in those victims because they represent 25% of all victims being killed, defending their territories. And and I don't try to marginalize the issue of ayahuasca tourism, but to me, it's just a symptom of a different kind of disease. It's a global growing consumerism. Indicators, economic indicators, GDP, profit, they don't reflect what we are doing to other people's health and what the economy is doing to the environment. And that's why also the pressure to natural resources is increasing. Indigenous people are the most vulnerable ones in terms of climate change. And there seems to be no political luck to implement necessary changes or to actually implement the indigenous rights. Indigenous cultures, these are the numbers, the top ones about indigenous cultures are from UN. They constitute 5% of global population, and they guard 80% of global biodiversity. While in contrast, our culture managed to destroy 50% of rainforests, endanger big fish stocks, decrease the number of vertebrates, and insect species in just 50 to 60 years. And these are all critical numbers. So my question when I see this number is, what do they know that we don't? What do they understand that we don't understand? And the first thing when I was learning from plants, the first thing they said to me is, when you pick up the plant, you need to ask the permission and ask how much you are actually allowed to take. And when you receive it, say thank you. And it seems to me that our culture forgot that very basic thing. Please and thank you. And when we talk about ayahuasca tourism and is ayahuasca endangered or not, I mean, ayahuasca really loves to grow. This photo is taken from, this place is located perhaps a few 10 kilometers out of Iquitos. And you can see the vine growing up the really, really old tree, and it actually grew over the bench that was built there to make a connection, better connection with a tree for people who actually dieted this tree. And we need to understand that without the plant, without the knowledge that indigenous people have, the plant is just a plant. Not in general, it's much more than that, and it always will be. But for us humans, the plant is just a plant. So if we destroy the Amazon, we are destroying the knowledge, we are destroying the culture that actually knows how to use the plant. And it's funny with me also, I mean, I was listening today and, you know, in general, people after they drink ayahuasca, they say, oh, I'm so grateful to what I received. Then why we are still reporting about the destruction of the Amazon? Why are we still talking about the destruction of culture of the Amazon? And if we are speaking about ayahuasca tourism, I think that it could have actually a very positive role if it would be done responsibly, but not responsibly from here, from mouth, but from the heart. Everybody needs to be in this game, needs to be actually equal and responsible. Responsible toward indigenous and local people, responsible towards plants, and responsible towards visitors. And center could have a really important role in communicating what is going on with the Amazon, in communicating why this temple where ayahuasca grows is disappearing, and why the culture that knew how to use those plants is disappearing as well. I am over the time already, but I will just go briefly with those challenges that we need to overcome. It's the leakage of revenues that is generated with ayahuasca tourism. Ayahuasca centers are mostly owned by foreigners who only partly live in Iquitos, so the probability that the profit goes back to their own countries is very high. Distribution of jobs, who gets the best paid jobs in such centers. Control over tourism flow, because foreigners have the marketing tools and connection with our world, and they actually are the one that through marketing control this tourist flow. So there is a huge responsibility for them also to communicate those issues. And yeah, how the ayahuasca community can foster a reciprocity. First is by changing themselves. Move focus from me, my profit, my interest, my healing, my, whatever I get, the benefits from ayahuasca, to us. What is my healing doing good to the community? What is it doing good to the Amazon? What it is doing good to the people that hold that knowledge? Inform, educate, empower local people, empower indigenous people. Give them fundraising, give them visibility, demand political change in your own countries, and above all, change your own lifestyle, because with this you will do the most you can do to preserve the Amazon and to preserve the ayahuasca as well. Thank you.